of our mother tongue languages here on the African continent. Let's move right along now and focus on WhatsApp, which is one of the popular communication apps globally and here on the African continent. In addition to the important role that WhatsApp is playing in fintechs, WhatsApp is also making a big impact on the education sector, which is progressive. Recently, a round-table discussion was held, hosted by Digify Africa, talking about this particular issue of WhatsApp and its role, its impact on the education sector. Joining us on the line to discuss this further is Gavin Will, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Digify Africa. Good evening, Gavin, and welcome to Africa Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure having you on the show, Gavin, as we talk about this progressive winds of change that are sweeping across the continent in as far as WhatsApp usage is concerned, its evolution. It has been a while since Digify Africa's innovation team launched a series of a tailored WhatsApp learning initiative, a revolutionary learning solution that allows millions of young people to get access to high quality digital skills and literacy content directly on their phones. Gavin, 4 years since the launch happened, just recently you hosted a round table discussion, I suppose, to take stock of where things are with regard to the impact of WhatsApp on the education sector and other sectors. What are the key outcomes from the recent round table discussion, Gavin?
Well, it was a good moment to come together with members of our own team, our clients, even some collaborators slash competitors in the WhatsApp space, and just to reflect on the fact that WhatsApp as a platform is having a really big impact, not just in education. I mean, it is one of the apps that lives on most people's phones, even if you have a lower end smartphone, and it's one that's very easy to use for all walks of life and all backgrounds. So I mean, for us at Digify, that was the key for us in terms of access to education, because we wanted to use something that people would know how to use. It wouldn't be expensive for them to use. And so we've been on this journey of, building courses and learning pathways delivered via WhatsApp, with the aim of unlocking as much access. And I think the roundtable was just marking a point in time where it's really becoming an important movement. And I think that there's a recognition that WhatsApp is a very important channel for educational institutions, but also for any kind of organization that wants to reach a big number of users on the African continent.
As you say, Gavin, WhatsApp is such a ubiquitous communication app, isn't it? Without a doubt, the most popular app on the continent here, a title that it has achieved due to its, I suppose, low data usage and ability to be supported even on the cheapest smartphones. But talk to us about some of the stakeholders who attended the roundtable discussion.
So we had one of our partners in Nedbank who attended, and Frank from Nedbank was there, and together with Nedbank we're just launching a new chatbot called Rwazi that's focusing on financial inclusion and financial education. So it was interesting to hear from Frank from a big bank's point of view of how, with their mandate of trying to reach all of South Africa, if possible, with financial inclusion and financial education, they have high hopes of WhatsApp as a channel and its ability to kind of open up the access and teach people how to manage their money and save. We also had our head of learning innovation, Tamlin, there. And she was just talking through how some of the ways, we've developed a pedagogy or kind of learning framework of how you deliver good educational content on a platform like WhatsApp. And yeah, and we had, as I say, a possible collaborator slash competitor from a company called Infobip, and they're more of a sort of general WhatsApp service provider, and have built, very big chatbot projects for major brands, helping them communicate better internally, and so there were some different perspectives on the different use cases of WhatsApp, in the world of business.
It is 18 minutes before 10 p.m. Central African Time. If you have just joined us, my guest tonight is Gavin Will, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Digify Africa. We are talking about WhatsApp. WhatsApp, one of the most popular communication apps here globally and here on the African continent, and its impact on the education sector. How has WhatsApp changed your life? Feel free to weigh in on this conversation. You can access to Channel Africa One using the hashtag Africa Tonight. You can also send us your voice notes to this number 0634069126 in case you would like to express your thoughts on what we are talking about. Now, Gavin, a while back you said that the challenge has been figuring out how to make the experience of learning on WhatsApp seamless and valuable. Is this still a challenge?
Yeah, I mean it's an ongoing challenge because WhatsApp wasn't built to be an education platform. In fact, it wasn't built to be a content platform at all. It was just built as a messaging app, and so a lot of the ways that it's being used now are kind of have involved a lot of innovation and
Yeah.
creative thinking of how you create such an experience. But I think the platform is changing, and opening up and using and introducing new functionality that gives it a richer experience. But it has been a journey, and a lot of work and development of thinking about how you keep the content experience lively, how you make it a valuable educational experience, and we've had to build all kinds of special functionality like quizzes and leaderboards and progress trackers that work inside WhatsApp so that it has some of the hallmarks of what you might find from a mainstream e-learning experience, that you might take on your laptop. So we've just tried to make it fun. All our chatbots have their own personas, that kind of reflect the users we're trying to reach. So you're in essence, you're talking to, each chatbot has a name and a persona, and you're talking to that persona, and they're the ones who are your kind of personal learning coach. So we've tried to personalize it as much as we can.
I mentioned earlier that it has been 4 years since your team launched this amazing innovation. Which parts of the continent, Gavin, would you say that are experiencing this initiative, this innovation the most?
So it's very much been focused on South Africa so far, and that's been as a result of the partnerships we have with Meta, formerly Facebook, and some programs we're running here, and a partnership with the South African government, the Department of Basic Education, where we've built a chatbot for teachers and educators to learn about internet safety. So that's been one of our most sort of fruitful endeavors so far. We've had over 200,000 learners join and get trained in internet safety via that chatbot. So the big focus has been South Africa so far. We've had some users from Kenya and Nigeria as well, and we do have plans in the next year or two to roll out our product in those markets as well.
What is the process of creating a WhatsApp bot, Gavin?
So it starts off with the content, and often we're working with content that already exists. So perhaps it's it's a course that's being taught face to face, and so we go through a process of what we call WhatsAppifying the content, which basically means breaking it down into very small chunks. and making it easily digestible for someone on the go, because we want this learning to be, available for if you're traveling, on a bus or in a taxi, or you're even sitting at home and watching TV. It must be broken down into very small chunks. So that's actually one of the biggest tasks we have, is the WhatsAppification of the content. And then, of course, there's creating an identity for the chatbot, setting up the skeleton of the chatbot. But the technical side isn't as challenging as actually getting the content right and making sure that the user experience is fun and engaging and lively, and that there's a learning value to the content.
Yeah, as you say, Gavin, that WhatsAppification is cutting across different sectors. In other words, you are saying that businesses can also benefit from using a bot, Gavin?
Yeah, well, I mean, businesses are using chatbots more and more.
Yeah.
We've seen that outside of education, of course. I mean, during COVID, the government used the chatbot very successfully on WhatsApp to deliver sort of information about COVID. But in an educational sense, we see that what we're doing appealing to multiple sectors. Anyone who really wants to try and access hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of users with their content in a very easy way. Because let's face it, a lot of people don't want to download another app or get to
Mm.
learn how to use another platform. So, using WhatsApp does cut out a lot of those barriers to someone jumping on a new initiative.
Mhm. But how is Digify Africa's bots, Gavin, different from others out there in the market?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who are building chatbots for
Yeah.
businesses, but there's not so many people out there that we've seen who've gone down this rabbit hole that we have of really trying to build a whole learning framework and a way of, a pedagogical approach, to use a fancy term, of
Hmm.
how you deliver a successful learning experience, an impactful learning experience on WhatsApp. And that's where I think our sort of special, secret sauce is, that we are an education organization. We're not a tech company. So, we're trying to use the technology of WhatsApp to make education accessible and valuable. And particularly in the context of the digital skills work we do, we're trying to use it as a pathway for people to learn skills that they can actually monetize. Because a lot of the impact we're trying to create is about jobs and livelihoods. So we're really deep into the learning side of things. We're not a company that's going to build any kind of chatbot for any company. So I think that's how we're differentiated.
Hmm. What about the cost implications, Gavin, of using Digify bots? Are there any costs involved?
Well, it's a very low cost to the user. I mean, we don't charge the user, so it's only the cost of data of actually using the chatbot. But to give you an idea, we, for example, one of our chatbots, Lesedi, which delivers a digital literacy curriculum of
Yeah.
8 to 10 modules, would cost you less than 50 megs of data to go
Mhm.
through the entire experience. So, compared to using many apps or the internet, it's an extremely low cost to the user.
It is 10 minutes before 10 p.m. Central African Time. You are listening to Africa Tonight, exclusive to Channel Africa from an African perspective, coming to you live from Johannesburg with me, Kumbero. My guest is Gavin Will, Chief Executive Officer at Digify Africa. We are talking about the impact of WhatsApp on the education sector. Feel free to weigh in, because we are just about to wrap this conversation up. You can access at Channel Africa 1 using the hashtag Africa Tonight. Gavin, just as we wrap up this conversation, how can people learn more about the work of Digify Africa and what you guys are doing within the tech space across the continent?
So the best thing is to go to our website, which is digifyafrica.com.
Mm-hmm.
And on there are links to all of our programs. And we do a lot more than just the chatbots. We have also digital skills programs if you're looking to get a career in digital skills, or you're a business and you want to learn digital skills. So there are some other sides to what we do, and you'll find it all on that website. You'll also find links to some of our chatbots there, where you can sign up and start speaking to the chatbots and learning straight away. So we're also all over the social media, of course. So if you
Yeah.
put Digify Africa into Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, you'll find us there.
We are talking about this amazing digital innovations, Gavin. But looking into the future, what can you tell us about any digital skills, skill trends that we should be looking out for in future?
Well, we try and focus on digital skill trends, the digital skills that are really accessible, even if you don't have, a master's degree or a really high level of tertiary education. So I think if people are thinking about careers, they should really be looking at, areas of, for example, digital marketing, career paths such as, social media management or community management, but also very, very in demand skills like cybersecurity, for example, where there's
Mm-hmm.
a shortage of people, cybersecurity professionals. And I think that people who are looking for a unique career path with a lot of prospects should, hone in on some of those places where there are shortages of skills and a lot of earning potential.
Gavin, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show tonight, and all the best with all of these amazing digital innovations that you are throwing at us. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was Gavin Wheel, Chief Executive Officer at Digify Africa, joining us here on Africa Tonight as we talk about the impact of WhatsApp on the education sector, one of the most popular communication apps globally, including here on the African continent, because more than 2.24 billion people worldwide and around 200 million people in Africa are using WhatsApp, a ubiquitous messaging platform that also connects friends and families across borders. That is our conversation in as far as WhatsApp is concerned. What are your views on that? Feel free to express your view. Engage with us on X, on Facebook, and on WhatsApp. It is 6 minutes before 10 p.m. Central African time. Coming up in the next hour, I will be in conversation with Professor Zetu Nkosi.